Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. Sunday's co-feature race at Woodbine is the Grade 1 Natalma Stakes, carded as race number 7 as part of the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series. This is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. Let's take a look at this field. Again, it's a Grade 1. We're going a one-turn mile over the E.P. Taylor turf course. $250,000 is the purse. Matt, we'll take the field in post-position order, beginning with the 1, Not Ordinary, and Kentucky Derby winner Orb's progeny. They have performed very, very well on the turf. This dam was a graded stakes winner going long on the turf, and I like the gradual progression in distances from start to start. 6, 7, now the mile.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's a nice filly. I think it's one of those instances, and we talk about it very often this time of year with the 2-year-olds and taking on better horses. I think that's really the only question at this point. Is she quite as good at this stage right now as some of the other girls, the more fancied girls in here? I think there's a lot of upside. I think she's in good hands with Gail Cox. There's a part of me that thinks that maybe this is a little bit too much too soon.
Very visually impressive last time out in an off-the-turf race on the Tapeta surface, but she did get a very fast pace to rally into. She might get another situation again. She's bred for turf. She's bred for distance. I think you're right. She might be a cut below right now, but she does have some potential down the road. The number 2 is Comet Kitten, and talk about a turf pedigree. This one is by turf champion Kitten's Joy. 14% winners with first-time turf runners. The dam was a Group 3 stakes winner on the grass in Brazil. We always like to see these 2-year-olds professionally pass horses in the stretch. Comet Kitten, a popular debut winner on the synthetic for Michael Maker.
Yeah, and one of the rare instances, she's actually getting a turn back in distance. She went 1 mile and 70 going 2 turns in that debut. Now you get the turn back. You've got a high profile sort of outfit here with Maker, with Flevian Pratt taking them out. For the Ramseys, we'll find out if the turf is actually what she wants. At the end of the day, you look at the pedigree, it shouldn't be an issue. But until they do it, you never know. At 20-1, I wouldn't talk anybody off of an interesting long shot.
The number 3, Chicas Amigas, is one of several European entrants in this race. She's been busy overseas. She already has 5 sprint races on her resume. 2 things worked to her advantage last time out, going 6 furlongs at the Curragh. 1, she took a substantial drop in class. The 3rd place finisher came back to lose a maiden race. She was 3rd in her very next start. She also added cheek pieces for the first time. She looked like she was in deep water in the stretch, but she gamely re-rallied to win. Steps up in class, steps up in distance.
And she gets LASIK, so I suppose that's a positive for her going forward. I guess my concern with her at this point in her career, I feel like she's a little bit exposed as far as class is concerned. Whenever she's been tested on those 2 occasions, she's been absolutely buried. And I know one of them was in an 18-horse field, but you see La Pelosa's name in there. We know Fairyland, the 3rd place finisher from that run in the Albany Stakes here from the States. There's a part of me that just looks at it and says, even with sort of this, if you want to say maybe our horses aren't quite up to class with those ones over there, I still think this is a pretty darn good group, and I think she might be overmatched.
The number 4, Eye in the Sky, goes out for trainer Mark Cassie. She is stakes placed on the dirt, and she has an excuse for her turf debut. Yielding going at Woodbine. Maybe she didn't care for the give in the ground. She showed brief speed when the beaten favorite behind My Gal Betty, who we'll get to in a little bit. Little bit of pedigree here. The 2nd dam was a stakes winner going long on the dirt. Here's a Mark Cassie formulator fact. Past 5 years, 2-year-olds on turf stretching out from sprint to route in graded stakes at Woodbine. That means races like the Natalma in the summer. 36% winners and a gigantic ROI.
Yeah, look, you've got good connections here, a good outfit up there north of the border. My concern with her at this point, like you say, perhaps the turf and a little bit firmer going is going to be to her benefit and get a sort of forward move out of her. There's a part of me that looks at it and says, her last 3 races, she's earned 58, 59, 59 buyers. I know she is lightly raced. She's only gone out 4 times, but pretty darn quick. We're going to need to get a move forward. And guess what? If she's going to win this race on Sunday, it's probably going to have to be a substantial move forward.
And she might have to do it on the lead with others pressing, as we see from the Timeform US pace projector. That red bar indicates our friends at Timeform US believes the pace will be fast. Eye in the Sky figures to be the one setting the fast pace as she stretches out a 1/4 mile. The 5 is Chasing the Kitty. 2 starts, 2 routes. She won her debut on the Synth at Presque Isle Downs. Then she caught Yielding Ground. She got bet in the P.G. Johnson Stakes. Maybe she just didn't care for the ground. She's by Kitten's Joy, should love the turf. And the 2nd dam was a Grade 3 stakes winner going 10 furlongs, so distance won't be a problem.
No, not at all. I thought she was awesome winning that race at Presque Isle in the debut, and then she came back actually better in the PG Johnson. And the other thing that you got to consider, not only was it yielding turf, but she was a little bit keen early on and hard to settle down in amongst horses. I just don't think she really appreciated that, and she never really came with any sort of a bid. I wonder if you get a better move here. Now, this is still, I think, a jump in class. I think she's going to be facing better horses, so perhaps she's not a true win threat, but at 30-1, I think she could certainly threaten to hit the board in a spot like this.
20-1 on the 6 Bohemian Queen, arguably the best bred horse in the race by Animal Kingdom, who certainly could turf. 16% winners, 8 for 49 with first-time turf runners thus far in his young stud career. The Damn Life at 10 was a terror on the dirt, a multiple Grade 1 stakes winner going long. She has already foaled Singing Bullet, who's graded stakes placed on the dirt. And this horse just looked good, winning her synthetic debut at 7 furlongs. She got a nice pace after breaking slowly. Turf's a bit of a question with the Life at 10s, although you think Animal Kingdom mitigates it?
Yeah, I would like to think so. He's about 16% with those first-time turf runners. And the interesting thing here with this filly anyway, I thought she was very green in that debut, and she won in spite of that. And I think if you get any more professionalism here, and the turf, again, we hope that it's not apples to apples, but it's a pretty darn good comparison moving from synthetic to turf. If she can handle that, I think she'll be able to handle the grass. She needs to be more professional. There's no question about it. But if you think that that's sort of a precursor to something and a nice move forward, again, I don't know that she's a true win threat in here, but I think she's one that could crack the board.
A horse I'm definitely using in multiple race wagers is the 7 Artelena, 8-1 on the morning line for Catherine Day Phillips. This horse has yet to race on turf, but has a pedigree for grass and class. By Breeders' Cup Mile winner Artie Schiller, who connects with 12% of his first-time turf runners, this dam is a half-sister to the Grade 1 stakes winner Collected, who began his career as a very fine turf horse. Now, she was washed off the turf last time out, Artelena. She could not have won that off-the-turf maiden special weight easier. I think this filly has got a lot of ability. She just looks the part.
Yeah, and I know that there's probably going to be some people that look at that maiden score last out and they say, well, she got out there to the front. She never really took any bit of a challenge, and she went on and just did things on her own. She's going to have to do much better, and I don't disagree with that. But I think she got a very educational debut 2 starts back, where may not have gotten out of the gate all that smoothly, and then all of a sudden going into the far turn, she's in and amongst horses, in a little bit tight, has to check. I thought when she finally got out into the clear, she ran on really well. That was almost the race more so than the most recent one where she went out there and earned that 75 buyer. That got me excited looking at her saying, you know what, I think there's some ability here, and I don't think she has to have the lead in order to be sort of productive. I think there's a scenario where she can sit off of a target and be just as effective.
She got a chance to test out the turf course on September the 8th. She responded with a bullet 5 furlongs and 59 and change. She looks like a strong contender. So does the 8, My Gal Betty, another horse I'd want to use in multiple race wagers. Arguably, she's the most accomplished horse in the race and the horse to beat based on form. 3 starts, 3 wins. She's won on synth. She's won on turf. She looked good last time out, coming with a 4-wide bid to take the Catch a Glimpse Stakes over that yielding turf course. And she's got a pedigree, a half to graded stakes winning turf winner So Long George in America, multiple stakes winner as well. Lots to like. She stretches out, but her sire could run all day long.
Yeah, I think Roger Atfield even was quoted discussing that. He said he was a little bit surprised and impressed with how much speed she had shown being a daughter of Point of Entry, because you would think that the longer the races are, the better for her, and I kind of feel like that's going to be the case here. Gets Lasix on. She has done nothing wrong in 3 lifetime starts. I don't think the distance is a problem. I'm expecting a big effort from her.
Bold Script is the number 9 debut winner, coming from off the pace on firm going, then beaten by My Gal Betty over the yielding course. And she wasn't embarrassed in that race. Maybe she didn't like the give. She's got a nice pedigree by Speightstown out of a stakes-winning synthetic router, so I'm not worried about the mile.
No, I agree with you. The distance isn't going to be a concern. The question now becomes, is she good enough at this point? Like you say, she has that yielding sort of excuse with the most recent run, but there was a part of me that wonders if she's just a little bit class compromised.
Nice price on the morning line for Chad Brown, Javier Castellano. That's the 10 minted, listed at 8-1. This horse in her first start against winners earned a stakes placing, going 5 furlongs on turf in Ireland. Pretty live race. 2 next out winners. The winner of that race, Landforce, came back to land a Group 2 stake. So that's some pretty good company, but she was listed as a vet scratch at Saratoga on August the 30th, and now she's got to come into this race off about a 2.5-month layoff while stretching out 3 furlongs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going against her in a spot like this, but really, I think it boils down to, in Chad, you trust. And you think this is a situation where, look, He's red hot with everything that he touches and anything that he puts, especially as ambitious as a move like this would be. If she goes in this spot, I think she's very interesting.
Pivotina, the number 11, comes in from France, and I like that one of her best efforts over there came on firm going. That was 2 starts back, going 7 furlongs. Again, no worries about the distance here. Lots of European and stamina influences deep in the family. This horse has a shot at a price, although she's still eligible for a non-winners of 2 life.
But like you say, you know what? They tested her. They threw her into group company most recently, and I don't think she was embarrassed. I know 4.5 lengths, it looks like she didn't really do any running, but I think there's a real scenario also that I think is interesting with her where she's not totally outrun. I think she might be sort of more mid-pack as opposed to being a deep one-run closer. And if you believe that to be the case and you think that the time form ratings that she earned over there are indicative of what you may get a forward move here, I think she's right there.
The 12 is Stillwater Cove, and this horse won a stakes race sprinting at Saratoga last time out with a nice effort. She got a nice pace to rally into. From a pedigree standpoint, she should get the mile. She's by Quality Road. The dams are full to Interactif, who won the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame stakes on the turf. I think her 4th dam is Personal Ensign, but you never know until they try. And with these Wesley Ward runners, I like them going shorter at times.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's basically Ward's sort of MO. Speed going shorter early on, send him over to Royal Ascot, send him over to France, win group races over there. But as the distance gets longer, and let's also call a spade, as the other 2-year-olds start to catch up and progress, sometimes these 2-year-olds, for him, they get left behind a little bit. And I agree with you. I think a combination of distance and also facing better horses. I think she's probably going to be at her best as a crack sprinter. I'm not totally convinced about the mile, although at face value and with the pedigree, as you may mention, you would think that that's not going to be an issue. Lasix
on for the Godolphin-owned number 13, La Pelosa. Multiple group placed this year at 2, although I didn't think much of that Sweet Solera stakes from a class perspective. The 3rd place horse came back to run 2nd in a novice event. I think this horse does have a little bit more tactical speed than your usual Europeans. Last time out, she was able to find a nice spot, saving ground, tracking the pace. She had her chance. It just didn't work out. I think she classes up well with these kind of horses. 3-1 is light on the morning line, but maybe she drifts a bit.
I was going to say, I mean, with such a big field, I'd be surprised if you had any horse that took too much money in a spot like this. The outside post is no bargain. Breaking from 13, that's going to be very, very difficult. But she's the class of the field, really, when you look at it. Because many of these girls, they've either been beating up on one another, they've done it on artificial surfaces, and they haven't faced winners, whatever the case may be. She's at least kept good company over there in Europe, and we'll find out. I don't think the distance will be a problem, but you know what? And again, until they do it, you never know.
Last horse in the body of this overflow field is the 14, Above All Names, maiden after 3 lifetime starts. They're going to try Lasix. This is what's known as taking a shot.
Taking a shot, 50-1 on the morning line. I'm not going to talk you off of a long shot, but she deserves to be a long shot.
Matt, this is a spread race in here. You can love a horse, but it's hard to single in any kind of multiple race wagers. We throw up our selections in here. Your top selection is a horse I'm definitely using in the multis. That's Artelena.
You know what? I was just very impressed with the debut, and that was not even a race that she won. She was beaten by 5 lengths that day, but I just thought it was a very educational effort, and the fact that she came back, she broke much more alertly in that 7/8 race, and you're right, it came off the turf, but I just think that this is going to be an instance where she's going to have a little bit of tactical speed. She's proven that she will pass horses, and she's not afraid to be in tight spots. And again, for 2-year-olds at this time of year, that is so, so important. We'll find out if the turf is to her liking. Pedigree-wise, shouldn't be an issue. Look, 8-1, I would sign up for that every day.
Give me numbers.
7, 10, 13, 5.
I'm going to go with La Pelosa to win. 3-1 not appetizing. She's going to need to drift up for me. I think with the Lasix on, she's going to improve. She's battle tested over there, and she's going to get some pace. But in multiple race wagers, I'm also using the 7 Artelena and the 8 My Gal Betty. Those 3 I'd probably use in equal weight in any kind of multiple race wagers. Now, underneath, in single race exotics, I'd use the 10 Minted in Chad I Trust, the 11 Pivotina, who face good company in France, and the 12 Stillwater Cove, who has to stretch out. 10, 11, 12 underneath. On top, I'm going to go 13, 7, and 8 in the Grade 1 Natalma Stakes, part of the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series. It is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Good luck.